Hello, I'm Alejandra, and I'm doing my religious diversity presentation on the religion, which is Islam. Islam was founded in Mecca, Western Arabia, and to this day, 1.8 billion follow the religion. Muslims pray 5 times a day, and they must be facing the Mecca. So the 5 times a day that Muslims pray at would be dawn, at noon, mid-afternoon, and sunset after dark. Their prayers often begin by reciting an opening chapter of the Quran, and they also perform these prayers on a small mat or rug, which is specifically used for prayer. What makes Islam different from other religions is that they are a monotheistic religion, meaning that they believe in only one God. The one God that they believe in is Allah, and they believe Muhammad was his messenger. Therefore, Muhammad is not a god in their eyes. They have the Quran as their holy text, so as Christians may use their Bible, people who practice the religion Islam use the Quran. And they believe that it is a text version of the literal words of Allah that were revealed to his prophet Muhammad. And this is their primary source of guidance in matters of faith, how to practice their faith, law, and ethics. They also believe in the 5 pillars, which are Shahada, Salat, Zakat, Saum, and Hajj. Shahada is a declaration of their faith. Salat is their commitment to prayer, and Zakat is almsgiving, or otherwise known as purifying, which is when they purify their wealth by supporting the less fortunate. This is a way for them to promote social justice. Sawan is fasting during Ramadan. So during Ramadan, people who practice the Islamic faith must give up something, and something that they give up is eating. During a certain window of time, they are allowed to eat. Outside of that time, they are not allowed to eat or drink water. And they also must pray before they do consume any type of food. Hajj is pilgrimage to the Mecca, which is a ritual that they perform by walking the hills of Safa and Marwa. They also do a prayer on Mount Arafat to promote unity and submission to their faith, as well as asking for forgiveness to their God. They also have a big emphasis on modesty in behavior, the way they dress, and interactions between the different genders. Their beliefs on marriage and divorce are similar to the beliefs that are known in the more popular religion, which is Christianity or Catholicism. And that is that marriage is highly encouraged in this faith, and they believe that it is a way to promote spiritual and emotional desires. So they believe that marriage is a sacred bond between both man and woman. They also have a contract agreement, which is that they believe that it is an agreement between the man and woman, and the woman must give consent to her husband. Divorce is very frowned upon in this religion, unless it is a last resort in case reconciliation is very difficult for them. Their divorce is also overseen by the Islamic courts, which apply the Sharia law. Sexuality is seen as something that should be moderate and respectful between two people. And sexual relations should be only allowed during marriage, and it is because of the sacred bond that men and women share. Sex is also something that requires both consent from both parties. And although sex is something that is solely used for procreation in other religions, this religion allows for it to be recreational and to cause pleasure for both the man and woman. They also encourage sexual education to promote any illnesses and maintain health while having sex. On the topics of abortion and birth control, people who practice Islam view life as something that is sacred. Even if it is the life of an unborn child, they believe that it should be protected. And they have also a law that prohibits the unlawful killings of people. People is also considered a child who is unborn, and deliberate abortion without a valid reason is prohibited in Islam. On the terms of birth control, some methods may be used for valid reasons, such as family planning between a married couple. Islam generally permits, so they generally allow the use of birth control as long as it is one party of a married couple who is taking birth control or has birth control. The intentions of somebody who has birth control must be valid and adhere to the teachings of the Muslim faith. When it comes to seeking counseling or help from a social worker, people who practice the Islamic faith must be sure that they are seeking counseling as a means to attain or gain knowledge, which is highly encouraged in this faith. The counseling that they are receiving should also adhere to the teachings that they believe in, as well as it is seen as an addressing to mental health concerns. So if somebody who practices the Islamic faith is seeking counseling or help from a social worker, they do it in order to address any mental health concerns that they may have, which is seen as a way to alleviate pain and suffering, which the religion also allows. Although seeking counseling is not opposed in this religion, prayer is still the most encouraged option. Seeking help from a social worker is also seen as taking the correct measures or steps to promote one's well-being for themselves or their families. And individuals should be mindful that the help that they are seeking from the social worker is, as I said earlier, in line with the teachings of their faith in order to facilitate growth when it comes to spirituality and in their faith. The spiritual practices or worship practices, as well as traditions, I would say the main two are from the 5 pillars, which are zakat or almsgiving, and this is because it is something that is actually done for others instead of for themselves in their own faith, because of the fact that this act is where one is actually helping the less fortunate, and they are actually doing something in promoting social justice, as well as Hajj, which is actually considered a ritual for the pilgrimage to the Mecca, which is where one will take that step of faith to walk the hills of the Sahara and Marwa, while also praying on the Mount Arafat. This is to promote, like I said earlier, unity and submission to their God and to seek forgiveness as well. They also perform the recitation and studying of the Quran. So this is studying the Quran and actually trying to understand what it is saying and apply it to their lives. They also do the traditions of Muhammad, which is considered Sunnah. Sunnah is when a person of this faith will include acts of worship into their daily routines, and they will say things such as peace be upon him. Dhikr is the remembering of Allah by repeating certain phrases and prayers of the Quran. So this is a tradition in this religion because they are doing what Muhammad would do for his God. And this is what people who practice this faith aim to do throughout their journey as a Muslim. Whenever they are caring for the sick or unwell, they have prayer as their first option, as well as reciting the verses from the Quran. They do not oppose seeking medical treatment, and they do see herbal medicine as a means to cure the illness. So their belief in the use of natural ingredients that are given to them by their God, Allah, in order to help somebody who is sick. They also see that performing good deeds, such as acts of kindness, will be able to facilitate the healing of their loved one who is sick or unwell. What I would say that a social worker should keep in mind whenever they're working with a Muslim client is that the social worker should maintain cultural awareness. So cultural awareness is to familiarize yourself with the basic Islamic beliefs. If the social worker is familiarized with these beliefs, they will know what to keep in mind in terms of the client's backgrounds. And also, they should be able to recognize the diversity within the Muslim community. I would also say that the social worker should respect the designated times of prayer of their client. Let's say the social worker would like to meet with their client, but the client is not able to meet because of the fact that they are in their time of prayer. The social worker should allow for the client to do what they need to do, and therefore aim or seek to reschedule a meeting. One thing that could be a challenge for the social worker is if they are doing a surprise visit in a home where their religion is the Islamic faith. They should, if the family or the client feels comfortable having the social worker partake in their faith, in their religion or their religious practice, or if they are okay with the social worker just sitting while they pray, that could be something that can be worked out, although in some cases it might be seen as a challenge. Although this is where I would say that the social worker should have cultural competence. Cultural competence is different from cultural awareness because cultural competence not only allows the social worker to be familiarized with the Muslim faith or the Islamic practices, but it allows for the social worker to know how to respect this religion, although maybe it might not be their religion of choice. A way to encourage a way to encourage or facilitate a connection between the social worker and the Muslim client would be to collaborate with the Islamic community in order to build relationships with people who are from these different cultures and beliefs. Another thing that goes into this would be that social workers, because of their profession, should encourage themselves to build relationships with people who come from different backgrounds and do not believe the same things that they believe. Yes, this is my presentation on the Islamic faith, especially when it comes to social work and some things that social workers should be aware of whenever they are working with a client from the Islamic religion. Thank you so much.